Two and one. What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Welcome back. Another episode of the Government Coins podcast. And y'all, this week the last few weeks, we've been pretty heavy in the South Florida area. So, I came to bring another South Florida city into this space to talk more about how to do business with them. Today, we actually have the City of Plantation. Now, if you have missed any of the other episodes, they're all on the YouTube channel. They're on Apple Music, Spotify, all of the different platforms. Go ahead, check them out, especially if you're in the South Florida space. This is giving you ample information and opportunity to do business with multiple different cities. So, without further ado, we have Charles Spencer from the City of Plantation. Charles, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you and your listeners relating to this matter.
Oh, absolutely. We're happy to have you. This is something that we don't get as often, just being able to be front and center and hear directly what procurement has to say, because you're busy in the back office making the magic happen, right?
We are considered the unsung heroes, and we take any opportunity to do some outreach with all businesses, specifically small businesses, to make sure that they are well educated and knowledgeable of how to do business here with local governments.
Absolutely. And it's a huge avenue and opportunity that I think a lot of business owners haven't really had a chance to explore because of the, misconcepts or the fear of really just getting in the game, honestly. So this also having you here in front and center provides more of a people, approach to it as opposed to just process. But I would love to get into, understanding a little bit more about you and how you got into this space of procurement, like that one place that no one really touches. So I would love to hear more about their experience.
If you talk to any of my colleagues, we all have the same story. We fell into procurement accidentally, and then we just fell in love with it at the same time. My background, I've been with the City of Plantation for about 22 years. 21 of those years, I've been doing procurement. I hold several different certifications, designations, and perform continuing education as it relates to this background. But I didn't start there. I started in construction in the utilities department, getting my hands dirty, understanding what it is like to actually put together a project so that I was able to better assist multiple departments in what they're trying to do. I think that's a good foundation to my beginnings, because when I speak with departments with their needs, I have a true understanding of why they need it. And then I try to associate that with now the laws, rules, and regulations that we have to go through on the procurement side. So I started from the bottom, and now I'm here.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Started from the bottom, now we're here. But I'm definitely excited to hear about that. Prior to getting into procurement, where were you prior to that? What was your job before you got into government?
Oh, wow. So before I started here with the City of Plantation, I was born, since I've been here long enough, right? So 22 years. No.
Yeah, that's it.
Before I started here with Plantation, I actually was a manager of a few different Shell gas stations in the Broward County area, which really started my journey in procurement, because what people don't realize, I have to price out gas prices and convenience store prices. I still had to manage employees like anything else. And I did that for 13 years prior to coming to the City of Plantation and dipping my toe into the public sector. I will tell you, there is a difference between private and public.
Okay, I could definitely see that. And that's an interesting conversation within itself, because I have no idea how gas stations work. I just know we pull up there, get gas, and then we go on about our way. And then the lines get heavy during hurricane season. That's about as much as I could tell you. But that's an interesting conversation within itself. But I want to hit a little bit more on the City of Plantation and your current role. What does that entail?
So I'm the current procurement director for the City of Plantation. That means that I manage and oversee a staff that solicits to the free market for goods and services for the City of Plantation. That also means that I have to oversee the ethical behavior and the legalities of those processes. to ensure that we're meeting the current standard of procurement within the market. I also perform outreach to ensure that we're maintaining a fair level of competition, and we're currently and constantly increasing our competition within the City of Plantation by doing outreach like these podcasts and other trade show events within Broward County and sometimes beyond. I procure for probably, or my staff and I procure for approximately 14 departments within the City of Plantation with multiple level of budgets. And that would go from public construction, capital improvement projects, goods, services, professional services. We also negotiate contracts on many different levels for many different services that also does not require competitive procurement, but yet we're still involved.
So that, I'm happy you said that, because my next question was focused around your different procurement thresholds and how small businesses can kind of get in on the ground level. So it's kind of a two-part question. So what are the procurement thresholds at the City of Plantation? And for anyone who's on the YouTube channel, I just dropped a link to the City of Plantation in the chat, so you can go ahead and check that out. But would you be able to tell us that, and as well as how to tap into like those non-competitive opportunities as well?
Absolutely. So to start with, the City of Plantation has several different levels of procurement thresholds. From 1 cent to $5,000 does not require any procurement process at all. So that immediately means that a department can buy between 1 cent to $5,000 without competitively procuring it. So that's kind of the first hurdle, right? The next hurdle is from $5,000 and 1 cent to $35,000. That is also handled by the department. The department is required to receive 3 written bids for the services, goods and services that they desire. The next threshold beyond that is 35,000 plus. And when I say plus, I mean 35,000 to millions, right? All those procurements come through my office. We go through a publicly solicited process that is posted on a web platform called DemandStart. And they're fairly advertised and solicited for all those that are registered on DemandStart to receive and have an opportunity to bid.
Got it. Okay, so that's pretty cool in terms of that 1 cent to $5,000 threshold. Now, for those different opportunities, I noticed you said the departments. So departments will handle all of those different opportunities. I just have to, as a small business, figure out which department needs my products or services.
That's correct. There is some diligence that's going to be needed by the small businesses. They're going to have to reach out and become annoying, for lack of a better word, to these departments and let them know that they're here and they want to do business with the City of Plantation. Sometimes you just got to make those phone calls, and they will be reminded constantly that, hey, this company is here. So when the need does occur, the department remembers that one annoying phone call, right? And they reach out and say, hey, by the way, I finally need that good and service that you offer, and it's underneath my $5,000 threshold. I can just go directly to you. And I use
we really have to, I think we really have to find a new word for annoying, because it's the process,
It is the process.
It's a part of the process. Okay, so that's definitely it. Now, would this always be considered like a P card style purchase, or how does that process usually work? Do I have to have like a card processor or?
No, so anything under $5,000, we still pay by check here in Plantation. So you don't have to have a credit card processor or anything like that. We still are a bit of the old school where we prefer to write checks rather than use our P card. There are some instances where we would use a P card if it was in the best interest of the city. However, we are still cutting paper checks just like a lot of other agencies around the state of Florida.
Okay, and then this question is kind of tapping into a little bit more of the process. So you mentioned that you use DemandStart to advertise opportunities, but what is the full process of, getting registered as a supplier? Like, is it the same portal that you register suppliers in? Would you mind walking us through the process of how do I get registered as a vendor to do business with the City of Plantation?
Sure. There's two different steps, actually. So if you log on to our website, you can register as a vendor with the City of Plantation. That's one step. But that's not the only step, and you should not stop there, because registering as a vendor with the City of Plantation does not guarantee that the City of Plantation is going to call you under our current platform. So registering as a vendor, that's the first step to be on the list. But you still have to do that outreach to those departments that might desire your services, your goods and services, to let them know that you are on the list and you are available when they need you. The next step is registering on the DemandStart platform. The DemandStart platform is where we advertise all our solicitations from $35,000 and up. And that is for a multitude of goods and services. Far be it parks and rec or playgrounds or public works contracts or IT style contracts, even as pencils and janitorial supplies, anything that exceeds 35,000 is advertised on DemandStart website.
Got it. And then from the DemandStart, mostly how do you accept the responses to RFPs? Is it electronic or do we submit our paper copies? How does that process work?
Since the pandemic happened, the City of Plantation has transitioned to an electronic only submission to get away from paper and to make things a little bit easier for staff. So they will have to submit electronically through the platform. The platform is fairly easy to use. There are instructions on our website on how to utilize the DemandStart website as well.
Got it. Now here's another question. In terms of, so for the DemandStart platform, let's say I'm a business and I'm already registered. I'll say City of Sunrise, and they currently use DemandStart. I can't get access to the City of Plantation's opportunities unless I pay for it. Would a business be able to reach out to the procurement department to get a copy of that proposal? And also, is there another way to accept a response, even if it's not through the platform? Would it be via email or something? It's another roundabout.
That's an outstanding question. So the DemandStart platform allows you to, for free of charge, to register for their platform if you're registering for the City of Plantation. It's free. However, if you want to see a multitude of different governmental agencies, there is a cost to that. I cannot tell you what that cost is because it depends on how wide of a net you're trying to cast when you're registering for DemandStart. Plantation is really good about, if you call or email us and asking us for a request for the proposals, we would gladly send it to you by email. However, you have to still submit that document through the DemandStart website.
Got it. Okay. So you definitely have that here. Now, another part of it is the vendor portal. If I wanted to go after some of these micro or those smaller opportunities with the different departments, do I have to be registered as a vendor before I reach out to those departments?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
You can start that outreach prior to becoming a vendor with the City of Plantation. Start talking to departments, asking them their needs, asking them what their budget look like. What folks need to remember is that most governmental agencies' budgets are public knowledge. Reach out, look at the budget, find out what their needs are. It's going to explain a lot of what they're spending their money on, and then use that as a resource to reach out to the departments and say, hey, I noticed in your budget, you're buying these widgets. I'm just here to tell you that I also offer these widgets. So when you need them, I'm here for you.
Can see that. I'm your girl. Come to me. I can see that. Okay. So for the next one is it kind of hits on what you were just saying about the information being public knowledge. And it's kind of along the lines of where our agency is spending the most, but definitely we'll have to do some outreach. But would you mind telling us some of the things that departments spend money on, so that way, business owners who are interested have an idea and they can say, oh, I can provide this, or in the type of departments, maybe that'll kind of give people a different idea.
As I mentioned, we have about 14 departments here with the City of Plantation, and there's a variety of things that they're constantly spending money on. For instance, in our Parks Department, they'll spend more of their money in shade structures and playgrounds and things of that nature. In our library, they may spend a lot more money on books, and things that go around that surrounds the library type of environment. Our Public Works Department may use pressure cleaning services or sidewalk construction services or road repair services. They're constantly buying woods and metals. Our utilities department is no different. They're buying pumps and electronic devices and electrical devices. So there's a multitude of things that are being purchased in the city. If you can think of it, we're probably buying it at some level or another here.
Okay. And I have a business owner in the chat. They actually they're in South Florida and they're a courier cargo van and delivering goods. They're asking, where basically would they fit into this piece of the puzzle?
That's a great question. Cargo services. Again, it's the outreach, right? Finding the need within the governmental agency. Not every government needs a courier style service, unfortunately, but you have to find the niche in the market, because you got to be better than the other common courier services that are currently out there, right? There, USPS and so on, and all the other competitors that you have to contend to when you're talking about courier services. Or do they already have an internal courier service? Plantation currently has an internal courier service, so we don't have that immediate need, but doesn't mean we're not going to have that need in the future. And again, it's a constant reminder, hey, you don't need it now. I understand. I'm just letting you know I'm still around.
Oh, and that gives an opportunity to partner. Let's say there are some, let's hope that there are an overflow of, or things that need to go out. That's definitely an avenue. And that kind of brings me to my next question. For this one, does the City of Plantation have its own police department and fire department? Okay.
We have our own police department, and we have one of the largest volunteer fire departments in the state of Florida.
Oh, wow. So it's completely volunteer.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. I did not know that. Okay. So you do, and that's another area, if anyone was considering it, that's a lot of things you purchase in that capacity, uniforms, all the tools and materials that you need to get the job done in that space. So
sure, you have your medical supplies and things that are done for our EMS side. You have the fire department hose testing services and other things that go along with that.
That's a good point. Okay. So yeah, definitely. When you are speaking to agencies, start asking these different questions about the different departments, because you never know where you can fit in, and you sometimes will be shocked in terms of, who needs your services. That is another component of it. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that one. As it relates to small businesses, right? This is the other part. We always want to understand, what is the process of doing business as a small business with the City of Plantation? Do you have a small business program or any set aside opportunities? What does that look like?
So I'm always going to encourage, because we partner a lot with Broward County here. So I'm always going to encourage, and I believe you had Sandy on the podcast once, right? I support his program, his CBE program. So I'm always going to say, if you're a Broward County business, a small business, minority business, and you qualify to register as a CBE, please do so. Currently, the City of Plantation doesn't have a small business program. However, we do encourage, and we are encouraged to use small businesses when we can. The way we use small businesses might be a little different and unconventional to other agencies, seeing that we don't have a program. But we recently went out to bid to qualify approximately 4 GC general contractors as a pool who are CBE certified, which is typically for small businesses and minority-owned businesses. And what that does, it allows us to put in provisions within that document that says, once a project reaches a certain value, that it must meet a CBE goal within our project, which in our programming, which I'm happy to say, I think just recently we received a project that met 100% of a CBE goal, although the project hasn't started yet and we haven't truly awarded it, but it was submitted as 100% CBE goal reach, where we only require 15%. So we are dipping our toe in the idea of trying to engage smaller businesses to work with the City of Plantation, either that's directly with us or through a form of subcontracting with another larger prime company.
Wow, that's huge. Like understanding the process of these, good faith efforts goal, and for you not have a program in place, but exceed the requirements, like that's insane. So that's awesome right there. That's definitely a huge avenue for businesses to tap into. And I kind of want to hit on what you said about the subcontracting opportunities. Would you mind sharing with us a little bit about how the process works to become a subcontractor with some of your primes? Or if there's a list where I can find, the existing primes that you usually work with to do subcontracting work with, is there something like that?
That's an outstanding question. So the first thing I would say is, one, again, register with DemandStart, right? Then you would get notifications of everything that we put out on the street. And if you find that we're doing a major project, let's say, for example, we're building a building, and one of your disciplines within there is electrical work. This is a great opportunity. You can't build, you may not be able to build the building, but you can tie yourself as a subcontractor with that prime. So immediately that you need to do some outreach to those contractors. You can email me and say, hey, Mr. Spencer, would you mind sending me the plan holders list associated with this project? And what that does for you is it lets you know all the potential bidders associated with that project and who you need to reach out to partner with to be successful for that specific project. And that is part of our goal of, one, public information, and two, getting the best price and the best quality, right? And three, engaging the small businesses the best way we know how.
I like that. So definitely, you heard the tip he just gave out. Reach out and ask for the plan holders list. I don't know if y'all heard about that or have access to that. Definitely reach out. That's a huge gem right there. So thank you for that, Spencer. What about small business events?
We are thinking about doing a small business event here at the City of Plantation. We have not done one yet. Okay. However, I am currently the chair of the Southeast Florida Co-op, which consists of approximately 30 other agencies here in Southeast Florida. Mm-hmm. And every other year we do a reverse trade show. Mm-hmm. And that reverse trade show is exactly how it sounds, where the governmental agencies sit behind the table and the small businesses and businesses have the opportunity to come to us, right? Normal trade shows, usually the procurement people are walking around, skipping tables, going to the tables that they know. Well, in this type of environment, this allows the companies to come to us and then sell their business and sell themselves and what they do during that event. That happens every other year. We typically advertise that event through different medias, one being, of course, DemandStart. There are a few other events that I do attend. It's the Broward County Better Business, the BBB conference. We were in attendance to that. That's another really good resource for small businesses to go and find agencies looking for things. Again, when I sit in those trade shows, I always tell folks that approach our table, I can't promise you any business, but I can try to facilitate the conversation. And that's the most important part. I'm going to take your card. I'm going to listen to the things. I'm going to find a need or how that might suit us in Plantation. And I'm going to pass that information along to our departments. Our departments at that point have the information, but don't let it stop there. Ask me for our department information. and then follow up with an email so I can engage them in setting up a meeting and facilitating a meeting. We're here to help. We don't know what projects are coming up in every department. All we can do is get you in touch with the right people for you to have that honest conversation with them.
Now, someone is asking a question that relates to PTAC. I think that's primarily more in the federal space, but I know sometimes the local SBDCs will handle it. Is that something that you guys are participating in?
I'm not familiar with the acronym, so I would need to know what the acronym is.
Okay.
I might know what it is, but I'm not familiar with that acronym.
It's it's Procurement Technical Assistant. Now, it is something that's funded by the federal government, so I know it's primarily federal opportunities. But sometimes, if depending on what type of PTAC is running it, that there's a local organization, they do sometimes try to partner with agencies. So that was just a question that we had. But Rick, I think you would definitely have to look at the location. Like I said, those PTACs are primarily for federal government contracting. So it's a kind of different conversation as it relates to that. But thank you so much for the question. Now for you, I did have another question for you in terms of the best way to market to the City of Plantation as a small business getting into this space, Charles.
When I came into procurement, the way to market was quite different. We had a lot of people showing up at our office, shaking our hands. Now you have many different sources of media. I would definitely utilize all those media sources. If we have City of Plantation email addresses, that's one way of doing it. Procurement has a procurement email address. Feel free to email us. Most departments have departmental email addresses. Send an email through that resource. Reach out and call. You never can go wrong with a phone call. Ask to speak with certain individuals that can answer the questions that you have. Stay abreast of our city website. That gives you an idea of what's being advertised, what's going on the street. Procurement produces what we call a procurement gazette. And those that have visited the City of Plantation website, on the procurement webpage, you will notice there's a thing called a procurement gazette. And what we do is we publish one every month, and it lets you know what bids are currently being advertised on the street without even going to the DemandStart platform. It lets you know what's happening in procurement directly. Are we going to a trade show? Were we just at a trade show? What was just approved by our city council? Is a wealth of information, as well as just the normal outreach. That's the best way I can say that.
Okay, and that's a great avenue. You definitely, like you said, being at the events, showing up is a huge part of the process. I would even give it 70%. Yeah. I mean, no, I would give it a little bit less than 7 because you actually have to execute, but it's a huge chunk of change when it comes down to showing up.
Not to be discouraged. Don't get discouraged, because what a lot of businesses need to understand is governmental agencies are not set up to make cold buys, right? So if you approach us, we can't buy anything just because you approach us with a product or a service. We can listen to you, and we have to find a need, because we don't know if there's a need. And then once we find a need, we need to see, how do we now execute that need? What is the process demanded of us to execute that need? Do we need to go out for a public solicitation? Do we need to get 3 written prices? Or does it fall underneath that threshold for no procurement necessary? So just because we can't make that buy at that time doesn't mean all is lost, because it's not. That's just the beginning. Continue to reach out, continue to communicate, continue to remind us that you are there and you still are willing to satisfy the need when it should occur.
Okay, I like that one. I would like to leave space for anyone in the chat to ask some questions. But I wanted to ask you, do you have any last minute like parting wisdom for small business owners in terms of getting into this space, or just business owners in general in doing business with the city, or just in business in general?
Again, just don't get discouraged. Stay vigilant with your process. Continue to outreach and show up to these trade shows. Continue to get certified in the necessary programs that are allotted to you, because there's plenty of them out there. Stay focused on viewing all the governmental agencies' websites, because again, there's a wealth of information there that it will assist you with being successful.
Nice. Definitely that. Always the information on the website that we miss out on. Okay, so I left a little space for y'all to drop some questions. If you were still typing, the time is winding down. Okay, we've taken up enough of Charles's time, but we really appreciate you coming in and sharing this information. It is a huge, as someone already mentioned, this information is very helpful. You know, it's a huge opportunity to be able to provide this information to small businesses, and we really appreciate it. I'll put that out there. I know I can say that.
We appreciate you all. We appreciate everyone, because we just celebrated Small Business Week here in Plantation by doing a proclamation. And we know that that's the foundation of all businesses, right? Someone had to start somewhere, and it always started a small business before they grew to the large businesses they are today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to start from the bottom to get to the top like that, right, Charles?
That's right. That's right.
All right, everyone. They're saying thank you so much in the chat. Thank you again from everyone who's listening. I'm pretty sure you'll be getting some emails, some outreach emails coming out soon, or someone doing some like going to the website to register as well. So don't forget to do, like he said, all of the due diligence prior to getting started, but you got to do that outreach and that legwork. That's what we got from this one. But that's it. Until next time, we will see you all later. All right. Peace. Okay.